The people that Zelensky does not feel comfortable with or doesn't like, the MAGA movement, the conservative Republicans, they have the power over his fate. And the people that he dalliances with and he feels comfortable and he's a rock star with, the Europeans and the American left, don't have any power. Hello, this is Victor Davis Hanson from the Daily Signal. This is sort of part two of the Zelensky-Trump-Vance spat in the White House. We talked about earlier the subordinate position that Zelensky was in, but I want to expand on that in a sequel if I can. The tragedy of this open spat is, if you think about it, they were very close to an agreement. And what is that agreement? There's only one real issue separating Russia now from Ukraine and the United States participation, and that is, how far can you push Putin back? We know now that Ukraine will not be in NATO. We know it's armed to the teeth, and it's more deterrent than any NATO power. We know that it was never the policy of prior administrations to forcibly take back with military means the Donbass and Crimea. Putin can brag that he institutionalized. We're just talking about where the DMZ is, how close it will be to the embarkation point that Vladimir Putin launched from on February 24th of 2022. Donald Trump himself said he wanted to push Putin as far back as possible. That's why this mineral agreement was so innovative, because most of the key deposits are along this disputed area. If you can come up with a DMZ close to or near where Putin started the war, and he did start the war, and have concessions where Europeans and Americans come in and have personnel on the ground, and it's a prosperous, mutually advantaged concession, then you're going to have the beginning of a lasting peace. Putin will not go in there and kill Americans or disrupt that. But the key will be to push him back. And that's what was so tragic about it, because in this conversation, everybody was talking past themselves. Zelensky doesn't understand that he is a subordinate. I feel for him because they've lost so many people, but you don't come into the White House with your trademark T-shirt, and if you don't understand the nuances of the English language, you don't interrupt the President of the United States. And if you're J.D. Vance and Donald Trump, you got to be careful about the optics. Yes, MAGA supports you and the Americans support you for defending our interests, but it looks like two tall, big men are kind of ganging up on this little Zelensky. So those were not good optics for either one. And most importantly, I don't think Mr. Zelensky understands that the United States is the only key to his survival. And he further does not understand, I wish he did, that we give him allowances that we do not give other clients. We don't tell Mr. Netanyahu, go ahead and form any government and cancel elections. We say, you get a war cabinet. You get a mixed allies, friends, neutral, and put them in your. We don't say to Mr. Zelensky, I want a ceasefire. Donald Trump said that today, but we've said that to Netanyahu. Biden said ceasefire to the disadvantage of Israel. We don't say to Mr. Zelensky, be careful how you target. We don't want any civilian casualties. We say that to Israel. So he doesn't quite understand. I don't know why that he is in a unique situation. How could I sum it up best? I think this is the key to it, that the people that Zelensky does not feel comfortable with or doesn't like, the MAGA movement, the conservative Republicans, they have the power over his fate. And the people that he dalliances with and he feels comfortable and he's a rock star with, the Europeans and the American left, don't have any power. The Europeans talk a great game, but they have not come through with the economic and financial and military assistance as was promised. And the American left that has made him a rock star, they're not in power now. So he has to understand that he has to get along with the president. That means you come in with a suit, you're very polite, you do not interrupt, and you cut a deal that's mutually beneficial on the mineral concession. That creates a de facto commercial tripwire, roughly along a DMZ, and now you have the basis for a lasting peace. My final wish, I wish that today as I'm speaking or in the ensuing week, the two sides can come back together, because we're very, very close to a peace, and it's in Donald Trump's interest to get the credit that he deserves for it and to stop this Stalingrad of the 21st century. And so the optics were bad, there was misunderstanding, but there's still a deal to be made that's beneficial to both Ukraine and us. Thank you very much. This is Victor Davis Hanson for the Daily Signal.
Thank you for watching today's podcast. And for more news like that, subscribe to the Daily Signal. And maybe you can check out my own website at victorhanson.com for podcasts, lectures, ultra series behind a paywall, but more importantly, just daily columns that are accessible and free to everyone. Thank you very much.